And we're live with another episode of BS Busters, and we should have some more people dropping in because we got started a little bit earlier than what the stated time was, but fuck it, why not? So today's BS Busters is a little bit more laid back because we're not going to go into all the different news stories we normally do. This one is basically about SandBox games and RPGs we would like to play and how we would like them to be made. But before we get into that, we have a few stories to get through. First one is Reggie Fils-Aimé is retiring after 15 years at Nintendo.
My body wasn't ready for this.
I don't think anyone was ready for this, but I mean, he's going out on top. I mean, under Reggie, you had the GameCube was relatively successful. The Wii was wildly successful. The 3DS was wildly successful. The DS was wildly successful. The Wii U, while not wildly successful, was profitable. So basically, 5 products Reggie has had to promote in North America, and all 5 of them, like 4 of them have been wildly successful. And one of them, while not wildly successful, still made money. So, he has nothing to be ashamed of.
And he also lived through the first years of the Switch, which has so far been
Yeah. And the Switch has been kicking everything's ass. Like, the Switch has been kicking so much ass that, like, Sony is running scared about the Switch. They're like, oh, shit. What are we going to do? It's like, I don't know what you're going to do, but it doesn't fucking matter. But that's basically what we're dealing with here. So basically, the Switch has been kicking ass, taking names, generally showing people that it doesn't care. And Reggie's been there. He's been a constant force of goodness. I'm a little bit worried about his successor, a guy named Doug Bowser.
Doug Funny Bowser, to be exact.
Yeah, he used to work at EA, which is kind of like a kiss of death for me. It's like, EA, fuck that shit. But of course, when he worked at EA was not the EA that we know now. Like, he worked at EA when they still made games and not games for services. So,
Oh, and my dinner's ready, so I'll probably have to bring it up with me since nobody else is here to join us. So be right back.
Okay. All right. So Doug Bowser is the man who essentially has been tapped to take the place of Reggie, and I don't know what to say to that. I don't know how to feel about that entire situation. I don't know how to feel about it because basically I don't know much about Doug Bowser except for what we've seen in like the blurbs and stuff. So, I mean, this could be a good thing. This could be a bad thing. Nobody knows. It could be the worst thing ever. It could be the best thing ever. It's the end of an era, which is kind of sad because, like I said, I like Reggie. I've always liked Reggie. I think Reggie was perfect for what they needed at the time.
And I'm back with my dinner.
All right.
All right.
So yeah, Reggie's back, and that's good. It's good that Reggie's back. Do I think that Doug Bowser is going to do as good a job as Reggie did? I don't know.
We don't know for sure yet, but then again, Reggie was in the same position as Doug before he became president of Nintendo America.
You mean the same position as director of sales, or the same? Okay, all right.
Director of sales.
Well, I mean, kind of, sort of. Like, here's the thing. I don't know if he's going to be as good. I don't know if he's going to be as capable, and I don't really, it could work out. It could not work out. I don't really care.
That's good.
Sorry, I was a little busy playing some Tetris and trying to improve myself a little. Anyhow, what's going on?
Well, we were just covering the one news story we were really going to cover for this podcast, which was Reggie Fils-Aimé is bouncing. I don't know why. Like, here's the thing: Reggie Fils-Aimé probably owns Nintendo stock, and he's probably rich. Okay, he's very
I was gonna say
we can't hear you, Joel.
I was saying that he's likely set.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. If you own Nintendo, if you own like 5% Nintendo stock, and plus like his stock benefits, stuff like that, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Doug Bowser, look, like I said, I'm a bit iffy on him, not because of him personally, but just because he used to work at EA, and like for me, that's not a mark of quality. Yeah, that's not the seal of quality for me. I used to work at EA. Oh shit. That's how I feel.
Yeah. That's the biggest worry with Doug Bowser.
Yeah.
Because he sounds like a villain, and he's already from a villainous company.
Of course, one of our contributors provided examples that he's not. That there's nothing to worry about since he's actually one of the good employees of EA.
Yeah, but I mean, like EA has had a lot of good employees. They fired them, or took their studios and ran them into the ground and destroyed their dreams.
I have to wonder which ones are which.
Both. But anyway, let's get to the fun topics, because why should we
Why should we?
Huh?
Why should we focus on the bad stuff? So basically, I've got some topics, some fun topics to talk about. First one is a little bit of video game news that may or may not be a good thing. I don't know. And this news may make some people happy. It may make some people sad. I don't know where to go with it. But
Let us hear it.
the Chrono Trigger director, Takashi Tokita, is producing the Switch RPG. I forget the name of it. Onanaki, which I had to look at that twice, because first I thought it was Onaki, which is the live eels that they sometimes eat in Japan, which apparently is also an aphrodisiac.
Hello.
Yeah. It's supposed to really help guys. And that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, Takashi, what's his name? Takashi Takita is producing the Switch RPG Onanaki, which is that game we saw the little trailer for in the Direct last Wednesday, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, does anyone have anything to say about that? Does anyone,
Not exactly.
I'm actually curious.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing people saying, well, this is good news. I'm like, why do you think this is good news?
I said I'm curious because I want to know more, because this sounds like something that's not of the usual fanfare.
Well, the reason I'm not like, oh my God, this is like the best news ever, is because
Because you've already been soured by certain news before.
Well, no, it's just Chrono Trigger is such a perfect storm game that you really can't replicate like all the shit that went into that game coming into existence. You know what I mean?
Like a once in a lifetime moment.
Yeah, like basically like Chrono Trigger, you had
Though it's been 20 years and that game is long overdue to be overthrown by.
Yeah, but I mean they've tried, and it's like Mario, right? Like no matter what platformer comes out, no matter how brilliant these fake ass gamers, this game's brilliant. Is it better than Mario though? You know, the only game that comes close to having as good as 2D platforming as a Mario game is another Nintendo game, and that's the Donkey Kong Country series. So literally, it's like the closest you're gonna get to dethroning the king is another IP made by basically owned by the same company.
And yet, Donkey Kong Country hasn't dethroned the original Super Mario Brothers in terms of sales yet.
Yeah, I'm not talking about sales. I'm talking about gameplay mechanics and feel and how well the game plays. Because I mean, there's tons of games that sell really well that are shit, like FIFA, Madden, Call of Duty. I mean,
I'm sorry. Did you have to say those?
I wasn't talking about how well something sells. I'm just talking about.
I know. I was saying that you had to mention things that sell like hotcakes, but a total.
Well, no, I was talking about basically, how well something goes. So for me, essentially speaking, like my whole thing is that, like, it's like the best you could get was basically 2D. Like when it comes to 2D platforming, I know, man, Rayman Legends is fun, but it's not like the controls aren't as tight as they could be. There are other 2D platformers that are fine, but it's just there's something about a 2D Mario or the old school Donkey Kong Country games. There's just a certain level of tightness and control, and just almost like you're dancing. There's almost like a rhythm to how you play those games and how you hop and bop on enemies and go from point A to point B and discover secrets and go through a level. It's almost like a gymnastic routine that you just don't get from other games. So yeah, there's the same way that there is about that. It's like Chrono Trigger. Like Chrono Trigger is just. It's like the perfect storm game. Like they're games that follow a similar trend as Chrono Trigger and just don't manage to hit it. I mean, look how many games have come from Tokyo RPG Factory where they're like, yeah, it's like Chrono Trigger. Yeah, it's like Chrono Trigger. I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere. And those games, I mean, like aesthetically, they look like Chrono Trigger and they might have some gameplay mechanics like Chrono Trigger, but they aren't like Chrono Trigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it has a flavor, but it doesn't have that same quality.
And you say, well, they might be the king, right? They might be the king, but like Chrono Trigger is the king. It's time to dethrone the king. Fuck that. There's a reason that something's the king. It earned it. And they don't make it like that anymore. So, it's like this, right? They're boxers who have better records than Muhammad Ali, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But still, when people think of a great boxer, they don't think of those other boxers. They might bring them up if they want to be boxing snobs. They think, oh, Ali, oh shit. That's the same way it is with Chrono Trigger. Yeah, there are RPGs that may be better than Chrono Trigger on a technical level, but Chrono Trigger is such an iconic and benchmark level game that even the other games that may surpass it, which I can't think off the top of my head of an RPG that surpasses Chrono Trigger, especially when it comes to JRPGs. Now, maybe, we can go Western RPGs that have a flair that might be able to go toe-to-toe with Chrono Trigger, but JRPG-wise, I haven't seen a JRPG that can go to the level of Chrono Trigger. Maybe Dragon Quest VII, maybe. Because Dragon Quest VII has the whole time mechanic as well. But that's it. So any other thoughts before we move on to the next list, to the next topic?
Now we can move on.
I can understand where this is coming from, that somebody wants to have that new, fresh flavor of quality, But sometimes you just can't beat that original taste.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel that should be a competition between within the company itself. That if they're not trying to compete other companies, but themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, let's keep it real. Has Square Enix can't even make a good they can't make good RPGs anymore. So really, like I don't trust them to make shit. You know,
And people are trusting them to make the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Well, yeah. We'll talk about it sometime in the future. I'll be right back. I got to get something real quick.
All right. So, what are your thoughts on Reggie retiring?
For me, I'm kind of mixed. I'm happy that he's able to retire, though I'm worried of who's replacing him. As in, hopefully he's good, but we've yet to see him in action.
Of course, the only bright side is that Doug Bowser is just as memey as Reggie already.
Because of the name, right?
Yeah, and already there's been Twitter trends of Doug Bowsette. Yep, they brought back that thing again.
Red, can we move on before I get images in my head?
He's not here right now.
Oh boy, I'm stuck with this. Thank you very much.
So while he comes back,
I'm back.
Oh, you're finally. We can move on to the next topic then.
Yes, the next topic is the top 10 best fan translated JRPGs.
This may be you two's territory because I'm not sure about this one entirely. Well, at least I could try to chime in a little. At least if they're more, if there's something of an RPG I can recognize.
Let's see. Well, there's Dragon Quest V and Final Fantasy V.
Okay, here we go. Nayuta Endless Trails, released on the PSP in 2012. Never heard of this game. I'm going to skip it. I'll take their word that it's a good game. I'll take their word for it. Dragon Quest Monsters Caravan Hearts. Now, this is actually, I've played this game. Played the fan translation for it.
Mm-hmm.
And how was the translation?
Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. It actually is a pretty damn good game. Ironically, I should say, because
That's good to know.
you wouldn't normally think a game like this would be that good, but it really is. It really is that good. Basically, you play as the character from Dragon Quest VII, except it's a Dragon Quest game, and yet it's not a Dragon Quest game. I think Dragon Quest, more than Final Fantasy, has been able to do spin-offs that are more interesting than Final Fantasy spin-offs. Like, Final Fantasy After Years sucked.
Does that also include the Chocobo games?
Yeah, I don't like those games either. And I know what some people are going to say. They're going to say, well, you're being a contrary bastard because how could you like those games? But I like them.
Some games have a certain charm to them, don't they?
Well, for me, the big thing that I like about Dragon Quest is just it's like Dragon Quest for me is like a comfort food type of game. You know, it's a comfort food type of game. It's like
your favorite ice cream. That no matter whatever flavors you go for, you always recognize the taste of it, right?
It's not like ice cream. It's more like it's like you go to your favorite diner, right? And
And we're your favorite, or that flavor that they always have with their food, right?
Yeah, the food's always going to be good.
No matter what type of food, it always has the same taste, same great taste.
Yeah, and they're not going to change the recipe on you. They're trying to be cool or chase a trend. They know who they are. They know what they're going for, and they know the shit's going to be good every time, all the time. You never have to worry about them doing some weird shit, Which is what I like.
We'll move on to the next game on the list, Treasure of the Rudras.
Yes. This game is actually pretty damn awesome. It's basically, it uses a different engine than what you would see from 16-bit RPGs on the SNES. But what's there is pretty damn awesome. The cool thing about Treasure of the Rudras is that you have 3 protagonists who each get their own party members in their side of the quest. And basically, in order for you to get the full story of the game, you have to play through the events of other protagonists. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have to go and you have to get to a cave at the bottom of a lake, right? But the lake has to be drained, but you don't have the means to do it. So then you play as another character who drains that lake, and another character who somehow makes it so that a force field around that cave goes away. And that's basically how the shit works. I mean, I've always been a fan of that.
I think I see what you're getting at. That in order to play this game, you need to work with each character team of sorts to accomplish certain goals.
Well,
right?
No. Actually, no. It's just you're like, how in Final Fantasy VI, there's parts where you split the party.
Where the team splits up?
Yeah, that's basically how it is. Like, events happen and like a major thing has to go down, and then you're basically doing it as different characters. That's basically that's it. That's the thing. That's how it rolls. That's what I like about it.
Okay.
The magical land of
water.
water.
Got censor it.
Well, no, the coolest thing about it is that you can make your own magic. Like, basically, magic in the game is
craftable.
Well, it's not craftable. It's just it's craftable. Like, you get these, you find these phrases that you use in order to cast your magic, and that's the game, which I think is pretty damn cool. Because basically, if you know what you're doing early on in the game, you can basically get some insanely powerful magic spells early on in the game if you know what you're doing. So like early on in the game, you can basically get yourself some magic spells that are way OP and take on some early level enemies early on in the game. It's really fucking cheap, really. It's you know, the legacy of good JRPGs is figuring out ways to break the system. That's it, people don't understand that.
It's an acquired taste, isn't it?
Well, I mean, people don't understand that the fun thing about JRPGs is figuring out ways to break
a game and have it bend to your will, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun part about JRPGs is figuring out ways to break the system.
But don't people complain about the games being too easy if they break this because they broke the system?
Not for RPGs, no.
I mean,
like no one's ever played Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy V or Final Fantasy IV and figured out the old, okay, we're going to cast Reflect on everyone in the party, and then we're going to have everyone cast their magic spells on each other, which bounce off of the party and splash on the enemy. So you have 4 characters casting their most powerful magical spells on themselves, bouncing them off themselves onto the boss, doing massive amounts of damage. No one's ever said, no, I don't want to figure out ways to beat this dude's ass using this gameplay system.
Then you're really far behind with what gamers these days think. That they think those tactics are to make the game way too easy. They want the games more challenging by making those easy tactics to be much harder than they are. Just as hard as the older tactics. Because people have already
some of these people never experienced the boss battle where you have to use Reflect in order to attack your opponent.
Because I've already seen people saying how underwhelmed Kingdom Hearts 3 because they found this one tactic to make the game easier.
Yeah, but that's how you play games like that.
Even on the hardest.
If it's supposed to be an RPG, you're supposed to break it somehow.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you play. That's how you play games like that.
Even the Pokemon fan base are complaining about the games being too easy because of certain strategies making the single player campaign a cakewalk.
That's how you play the game. Okay, my browser died, so I'm gonna bounce out of this one and jump into another one. I'll be there. You're gonna see duplicates for a little bit.
All right.
I think I can understand where this is going. Like, people want things to be a lot more harder, or something that is
challenging,
unbreakable in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
but here's the thing.
But here's the thing, though.
RPGs are meant to be understood. You're supposed to understand how the mechanics run for the game and
exploit the system. Yeah, that's what RPGs are about. You have to learn how to exploit the system. Like, that's why Final Fantasy Tactics is so fucking awesome, because you learn how to use the gameplay systems to break the system. Like you learn how to steal shit that you shouldn't technically be allowed to steal, so that you can get like 2 Ultima blades, or
or
stuff
have
like
more,
that.
or have more chance to steal from somebody when you have more of a group together. You can steal something that's probably a lot more rare than you imagine. And excuse me if that's not true, since that was actually a file I had for trying to play Radiant Historia.
Yeah. I mean, that's learning. Like, basically, okay. an RPG has, just like everything else, has a point where you begin. It's kind of like when you learn advanced mathematics, right? Like in the beginning, you're learning the basics, right? You aren't gonna, then once you master the basics, you move on to more advanced concepts. And then once you know the advanced concepts, you learn the shortcuts that cut out the basic shit and make the advanced stuff easier. Like, and that's the thing. Like a good RPG, you start out with the basics, and then you get advanced, and then once you get the advanced stuff down, you learn how to break the rules in a way that doesn't break the system, or breaks the system in a way that you still get the right answers. And it's amazing how you can do that in an RPG. Like, for example, I'm going to use Final Fantasy as an example again. Like, you essentially do something like you destroy your enemies by let's say you're playing Final Fantasy V, and you learn how to use everyone in your party has become a thief, and then became a ninja, which enables them to learn dual wielding, and then and they can equip katanas, which have like the highest critical hit rate of any weapon in the game. And then they learned X-Fight as an archer, which enables them to attack 4 times in a row at 0.5 at half damage. So then you equip everyone in your party.
Wouldn't that mean all those crits? You'd have about 8 attacks and high chance to crit every time, yes, which could increase the damage over 999.
More than that, because if the character's physical attacks are high enough, basically you're talking each attack is gonna crit and do like 800, 900 damage, and then they're gonna attack 8 times because they're dual wielding. So basically, you're just destroying your enemies. You're doing thousands of damage per overall attack. Now that's using the gameplay system within the game to fuck somebody up, and that's what RPGs are all about. Especially, I mean, using what's in the system to destroy your enemies. That's what it's about. That's what it's always been about. And if anyone tells you anything different, they're lying to you.
Or maybe those people just want their games to be more challenging than how the games were to them years ago when they were kids.
Well, that's the thing. If you want the game challenging, don't do that. Play it the way it was, quote, I'm using air quotes here, meant to be played. You don't have to do any of that. You could beat the boss the way it was meant to be played. But if you want to do something a little bit different,
you mix it up by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, most of these good RPG games, they allow you to experiment. They allow you to try things out, and they allow you to
figure out ways of breaking the game. Even Pokemon allows you to find ways of breaking the game.
Yeah, I mean, have fun trying to OHKO certain creatures and see how fast you could make it out of one little situation.
I mean, hell, one of my favorite strategies of Gen 1 that's still a lot of very valuable today is capable only because Charizard counts as a fire and flying type. That's the only reason I can use it. And I can only do it with that one Pokemon.
And it's funny that speedrunner prefer toys.
Or just use a Psychic type with Amnesia to increase its special stats, and which will decimate an entire team of CPUs.
So,
but moving on to the list. Let's see. After Treasure of Rudas is Magical Land of Waz. Never heard of it.
Yes, it's called Cho Mayu Waz.
Cho Mayu Waz?
Yeah, Cho Mayu Waz.
Sounds like a Chinese translation.
No, it just sounds kind of weird. It's called Cho Mayu Waz, and it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. It's one of my personal favorite games. The cool thing about Chomayu was is that it's like basically it's like a game where you can choose what the main character does, but the side characters